Everybody, asante sana, karibuni.
Chip.
Oh, we're changing mic. Opportunity. We have ourselves with Kevin, but we would love to just stress one thing out. We would love this to be an opportunity for us to
the Web3 space initially with the
So, long story short, been in the space for the past, I would say, 8 years, and been investing basically in a lot of founders, right? Between 40 founders in different spaces, between 40 founders in different spaces, different regions as well, ended up basically wanting to focus on the founders, something with the payment space. Yeah. Helping, and then we'll move on into a discussion and something more open so that we address the different conversations. When I had the idea to So I said about a year ago, when I wanted to basically launch that fund and focus on African founders, back them with basically end up going from here and there, looking for the tech that is basically going to be empowering whatever you'll be building with blockchain, right? So Africa Ventures has been launched. It's a $4 million fund exclusively focusing on African Web3 founders. I'll break it down into quickly what it does. Depending on which stage the business founders are, and going from basically grants up to $150,000 and equity financing up to $500,000. Where you are and what kind of focus you want to be on. Last but not least, as I said, bring in human capital is 1, bring in financial capital is 2, but 3, we're also having engineers within that fund to be able to provide that hands-on support for the founders that need it. And I want to stress that out. It is not linked to StarkNet only. I will repeat that. It is not linked to StarkNet only. That means that if you're building on Base, on Lisk, on Scroll, on anything, and if you're moving,
don't really necessarily get the grants, don't necessarily get the proper backing. And that is really a problem. And that is really a problem. And so what we realize is that there's an actual feedback that we're hearing from funders related to how investments in Africa is going on. So it's hard to see Africa is going on. So it's hard to see how does this materialize in value. How do we actually make sure that in value? How do we actually make sure that whoever we back, we can continuously follow up and back? So there's a lot of money that's been thrown out. It really is a bad reputation that we're getting. That really means that there's a sense of exposure, almost you would say even an investor bias that we have. Meaning an investor bias that we have. Meaning investors don't necessarily buy into the business. They actually invest and buy into the business. They actually invest, and we realize that basically this is not helping us at all, right? So there's almost this is not helping us at all, right? So there's almost you kind of really invest in people, not necessarily in the business, and speak the language that the VCs are used to, and they can't really relate to you. Most of the time, what happens is they won't back you. That's just the reality, right? They back. It's the vast majority of, I mean, let's be honest, right? Like, this is a tiny, population that founders that get to have that exposure. So that is really what we realize, and I'll hand it over to KK to just kind of like, share how are we thinking about this and what are the potential propositions or solutions that we can bring to this.
Thank you. If you could please just go back just for the slide. I want to just highlight something, and I don't thank you. Thank you. One thing that we've realized by being in this space as well is that most of us are focusing on the technology, right? It is so important to stress there is the entire other aspect of who are the founders as people invest into people. And especially because we're not sitting here with Series A, B, C founder. So now realize, think about it. You have about $1 million shilling and you want to invest in someone so early. What is it that really matters at the end of the day? Is that trust that that person would be able to sort of give to you. My portfolio is something that I have not invested in. What do I mean by that? People pivoted. Their business is not at all what I've initially invested in. But what is and the integrity to basically take that money and run with it no matter what. So what does that mean? It means that us as founders here in Africa, when we're coming up and facing any sort of funder, and when we say funder, it also follows, as Kevin said, culture in a way. So what do we mean by that? Let's meet people halfway. And let's be real. Not many of us will have the chance to go and study abroad. Investors to meet us halfway, but that means that we have to do the other halfway. That means understanding how their brain works. That means going out there and adapting. Versus expecting the adaptation. And this is how you make potentially a little bit of a difference. That's number one. But again, who is doing that? It's not going to be protocols. It is not going to be chains. I'm real. We're talking here for StarkNet. We're not going to. And those are the Web3 clubs of Nairobi. Those are the Web3 bridge of Nigeria. Those are the other guys that are on the ground, understanding, helping them, how they empower them so that they can actually convey that to the local people. So that when you come, you are that support, that mentor that can help them throughout the whole journey. And I'm not talking about hackathons or developer boot camps or whatever. It's a permanent thing that you get out of it and you're ready to be exposed to any investor that is coming and you'll be comfortable pitching yourself and getting their money. Access and flexibility. No exclusivity. I'm saying this again from a protocol. Please, let's get out of that very dangerous approach of asking builders, if you want to get my money, please come and build on my chain. We have to empower our entrepreneurs from Africa to learn so many skills that they become bankable. Bankable to be out, say, now I can choose depending on what I'm building, wherever I want to go. If I'm a gaming developer, I better be on a chain that is excellent in gaming.
But I'm happy to have funded those guys that will end up on the chain, market. You go, you get a diploma, you get out there, and you have different jobs, right? We just have to be ready for those jobs. So please, I'm calling all ecosystem protocols, whatever that are, either here or listening. Let's work together. Great for them, because we gotta re-put the focus on the importance for the founders, not for the chains themselves. 3, ecosystem collaboration. Again, this is gonna be a process with everyone. We have an idea that they become bankable for a fund to invest equity in them. I am very, I'm feeling sometimes powerless when I'm hearing people pitching